Hey guys, Johnny Baseball here. Welcome back. So I thought about that Garrett Cole trade. Um, Garrett Cole trade didn't enunciate well there. Um, it felt like cheating. It somehow it felt like a glitch in the game, and I like felt like I was setting myself up to get OOTP'd pretty hardcore with some injuries. So decided to go a little bit different route, going with this trade with um, getting Josh Hader. He is injured. He got hurt in spring training. He's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. Fortunately, they're willing to cover 25% of that contract, um, and I get to restock some positions in the minors that I wanted to address a little bit. Um, Given up a couple of pitching prospects. One guy who has been on the active roster for the spring training. So clearing out a pitching spot for Hader, as well as moving on from the shortstop, since Trevor Story is going to be our guy. I just, yeah, sorry to any Angels fans, Garrett Cole fans who wanted that to happen, Cole to the Angels. Maybe next season, maybe they'll offer him again in some crazy trade, and maybe we'll get him for next season, and I won't feel as bad about it for whatever reason. Um, my assistant GM thinks this is a bad deal. I don't know how this is how getting Josh Hader is a bad deal for this, but it's good that I get to override him and go ahead and make the move. Yeah. Also, fan interest increases noticeably. Fantastic. Um, I also saw this. Flaherty was beamed by a pitching machine. Um, what? like, yeah. So OOTP comes up with some pretty interesting storylines here. Yeah, wow, he took an errant fastball directly at his head, and he was wearing a helmet. Well, of course, I instituted the DH universally, so there's no reason for him to ever take batting practice. Yeah, but then they cleared the pitching machine of responsibility for that. Um, so, not sure why Mike Trout's photo is down there. They're talking about Jack Flaherty. Um, yeah, so some interesting storylines, and we got Josh Hader now, and Kershaw is going to stay with the Dodgers some more, 4 more years. Awesome, 4 more years of Kershaw. That's great, and yeah, there's our deal. I like it. I like the move. So I'm excited to have Hader in the bullpen. Remember, we got to go to the DFA section. Make sure we go ahead and add him here, and then I'll be able to also move him to the injured list since he is out for 2 to 3 months. Go ahead and make it the 60-day. So that keeps him off of the active roster, so I don't have to worry about that. I still got to get that down by 5 more players before opening day. So who knows? Maybe the Yankees will offer me Garrett Cole for Ramirez and Bim Boom. And then I don't know. I mean, if they keep offering Garrett Cole, at some point I have to just take him, right? I mean, we have the cap space, and you always make a pitching spot for Garrett Cole, so that's not a problem. So we gotta figure out. Fortunately, some of these guys if they have that plus sign, they're out of minor league options, and then they got to go on waivers. And I don't want to lose anybody to waivers. A lot of these guys are pretty good, have good higher ceilings. As much as I don't like sending some of the older guys down to AAA, like giving them a shot to go ahead and make it on the active roster. If it comes to it, I mean, if I can't trade them, then send them to the minors again because they have that option. And he is somehow not even on the 40-man. But he's, getting his footing in spring training. But since he, we're super need him, and, we're just going to see how things go. We have so many pitchers to utilize, which is a good problem to have, having more pitchers than you need that are hopefully going to be able to hold down those runs. We have some options there. We'll be able to move them from AAA and to the Angels. So we might not have to trade anybody else. Might be able to do this, just moving people to the minors for now, and then just start seeing how the season goes, and then save those trades for closer to the deadline. Maybe we can address a need then, and help us push for that World Series. So that's where we're going to head. I'm going to go ahead. We're a couple of days from the end, so let's go ahead and finish today. Don't want to do a week because the regular season starts pretty soon, and I need to get the roster kind of set. That was the last game, so there it goes. Because you see today, no game. We finish today, and then regular season, right around the corner. So, gotta get this roster finalized. Lineup is looking really good. Really excited about that. Having Trevor Story leading off, Renfroe in the outfield as well, and Eaton. Really excited. Obviously, the big story is having Trevor Story at shortstop now. Fantastic stuff. So, let's get ready to decide on who's going to stay on the Major League roster. I have one more guy that I'd like to have. I'd like to have a balanced roster of 13 pitchers, 13 hitters. Got one extra. I'm not counting Ohtani. The benefit is that he counts as both. But I'm counting him as a pitcher. Because that gives us an extra on the hitting side. I don't want to send Bim Boom down because he's having a really good spring, and he's 31. I might have to send Tace down. I think he has another option year. Yes, he does. And not the best spring, in the 600s with his OPS. And we can obviously call him back up if we need him at any time. Probably going to do that. Going to send him to AAA, get warmed up for the season, be ready to call him up whenever. And now some pitchers. We got a glut of pitching. I love that we have a 6-man rotation now. That also helps it protect us, in case we get OOTP and somebody gets injured for the year, like one of the 3 new acquisitions, Bauer, Snell, and Lim. We're prepared. We're well prepared for it, with lots of great pitching. And we'll get Hader in the bullpen in a few months, which is fantastic. And hopefully Barnes can keep his ERA down. It looked like he got 7 saves in a row before that blown one and the loss. So it looks like he's more on track. That's great. So yeah, now we gotta pick 4 pitchers to move down. I try to send some of the younger guys, give the more senior players opportunity to prove themselves coming out of the gate in the season. And worst case scenario, they prove themselves really well, like Ramirez and Bim Boom, and I'm able to trade them for a little more, because realistically I don't think their ceiling is as high as some of the other guys. So but if some other team is in desperate need of a catcher, and Bim Boom's playing really well, I'll be able to get a good trade return for him. So that's what we're hoping to do. With that, we can't send Ramirez down because he has that plus sign there. So he's out of minor league options. Again, also, both guys are over 30, so I want to give them the shot. Anderson, I'm feeling like he can go to the minors and hone up. Fleming has, he pitched pretty well. Well, not as well as I thought. So he's definitely going to be on the 40-man roster. But AAA. And Leclerc and Javier, who we traded for, and Canning. Looks like Javier and Canning have higher ceilings. They're also younger. So could use a little extra time in. He did pretty well in spring training. So how did Canning do? All right. And I mean, it's spring training. It's not everything, but it is something. Okay, yeah, Barrio's pretty lights out. So let's keep him on there. Thinking Javier and Canning, they are the youngest. That's not the only reason why I'm setting them down, but they have option years, which is great. So, all right, now we're at 26. So the relief looks a little thin, maybe, and it's all righties. Wow. But I really do. I just try to go with best available always. Just worked out that don't have any and just have two lefties. We'll see how that goes. If we're getting our righties are getting rocked, then we'll go look for a lefty and move a lefty into the fold, the pin. See how it goes. I think we can call it a month. Oh, there's a trade proposal. It's from the Yankees. Stanton. They want to give me Stanton. Man. Maybe I should just take him. Take Stanton and Garrett Cole. Maybe they'll take Upton. Joe Kelly to the Braves and Jock Peterson to the Cardinals. All right. Well, I won't have to play those guys. But, dude, This is nuts. All right, we're just gonna look at it. I could straight up just accept that, just so you know. But I kind of, and like we did, that was with the Trevor Story deal. We ended up having to just hit confirm because that weird sort of possibly glitch situation where we went to discuss the trade and then their GM didn't want to do it, but they proposed it, so that was nuts. But I like to always go to the discuss trade and see where we can get things, you know, because you want to see what all is available, what all's on the table, you know. I mean, even if it's just getting them to retain an amount of the contract, right? Are they willing to do 50? Apparently not. 30? Apparently not. Apparently he's not willing to add any money. If I take the whole contract, they're open to it. But there's not a spot for him. Like, I have DH Otani, and I have a left fielder right now, Upton, and they won't take him. We already looked at that. I mean, maybe. Well, let's always just see if they would be willing to. No, of course not. So, and they'd want us to take on the money. Not a very good offer. Not enough. Okay, so only 70%. That's down from, if you've been following all the videos, down from the 80% that was the minimum to get anybody, and it's because they're also getting Christian Javier and Barreto, my backup infielder, my utility guy. And he's second and short. Wouldn't really want him in the outfield. Second base and shortstop. You know, I like having those utility guys. It's very important. So it'd be important for me to have another option before trading Barreto away. You know, anytime you're going to make a trade, you want to make sure that you have a solution to fill that spot, right? You don't want to trade yourself into a hole. So, you know, make sure that you have that before you trade away somebody. You know, you don't want to trade them and then you're like, oh, realize I don't have anybody at first base now. You know, that's not a great scenario. So I don't have anybody else on the 40-man. It looks like, oh no, I got Rivas, but he still seems like he still needs some development. But he's a second base and shortstop. Needs a little more development time. You know, it's dropping. That is a lot of our money. Obviously, we couldn't do Garrett Cole and Stanton. And Stanton's got a lot of years left on that contract, and they are not cheap. You go to the contract screen, and it drops for those last few, but 29 and 32 million a year. It's a lot. That's a lot. I would feel better about it, you know, when I did one career, I guess we'll call it, as the Nashville expansion team. I ended up trading for Stanton and using him. He played him in the outfield for 1 year and then moved him to the DH spot. And he was awesome in the DH spot. I mean, he was hitting 40, 50 home runs a year. It was great. It was, you know, the Yankees weren't doing well. They wanted a salary dump. So it worked out for both of us. And I gave them a catcher that they really needed a catcher. And that's a young catcher who was performing well. So I had one. That's what they wanted. It worked out great. You know, I mean, this deal, I don't think so. Just want to say how, yeah, because our salary, we couldn't do it because No, we don't have the cap space for that. They would be over budget. What? Oh, that's us. Los Angeles would be over budget. Yeah. Shocker, they don't want to hold on to all that when they're not getting much in return. So, Barreto and Javier for Stanton, it's not really what I want to do right now. I mean, Javier has some amazing stuff, and he's got a pretty high ceiling, 55. Could be a really good starter for me in a couple years, and I don't want to give him up right now. Didn't we just trade for him? Yeah, with Houston. So, and Barreto is a really solid utility guy up the middle. So, sorry to all the Angels fans who want to see Stanton and Garrett Cole. Either one on the Angels. It's not in the cards today. Maybe later. So we'll finish today. There it is. Now it's going into the saving because we've got that going every month. Now, they proposed that trade, the Stanton deal, and when you get those, you have 14 days to accept them. So unless they trade that player to another team, that trade offer is still there. You just go to your messages, find it, pull it up. Hey, cool. We announced the charity. I missed that message. That charity, when Trout asked for it, we stepped up, and delivered. The community. Happy to do that. I always think that's a good idea for an organization to do. And so we will start the season, I believe. It is April 1st, and the games start tomorrow. I just wanted to go ahead and just click read all, get all those notifications out. Not all this stuff is important, you can kind of scan it and just see what's up. Oh yeah, the new predictions have come in. So they have predictions before the spring training starts, and then they change it after it's over, right before the season begins. So we'll take a look at it again, see what they think for us, and see how accurate some of that stuff gets. Hey, saving more kids from socialism in Venezuela. That's great. It's always great. Saving people from socialism is always it's a hero's task. Somebody's got to do it. Happy that we were able to. All right, welcome to the new season. Well, Mr. Moreno, I'll let you know how it goes. I guess you'll see as well. All right, so we're starting a 2-game set against the Tigers with Ohtani and Bauer on the hill. All right. Top 100 prospects. We traded ours away. Let's see. Where do we rank? Yup, 28th. I'm Amaya, who we've got in that Rule 5 draft, scooped him up, and Detmers, because we traded away Joe Adele to get who's now with the Rockies there, who's the number 6 prospect, to get Trevor Story. We'll see how that plays out over the coming years. All the best to Adele and the Rockies. Also, thanks for Trevor Story. Man, Orioles, dude, the Rays coming off a World Series, and they still got the number 2 wow, it's impressive. Of course, they still have Rosarena on there. Had an amazing year, an amazing postseason, especially. It was incredible. Yeah, good. The Astros, the bottom, where they belong. And yikes. Yeah. Well, Portland, that's not particularly surprising. An expansion team, they just didn't end up drafting any from other teams. Minnesota and Washington, 0 points. Not having any of the top 100. But I don't think the Nationals are too hurt by it. They do have a World Series ring. So, fun to see, look at, so you can see, like, oh, who's got a ton of the, prospects. If you're looking to acquire some top prospects, if you're in that stage, this is a good place to look. And you can see who's got maybe a lot of them. And you say, okay, maybe they'd be willing to trade one or even two for the right, if you've got the right sort of situation for them. Help them win the trade deadline, help them make a playoff push. Like the Braves, they're probably going to be in the playoff race. Maybe you want one of these guys. Padres, same situation. Yeah, so something to look at for sure. And then you can see more of a breakdown of that by hitters and pitchers. Yeah, broken down separately. So yeah, that's how the prospects thing works. And it's opening day. Hey, Simmons. Good for you, man. He's a Brewer now. I feel like the Brewers got, I mean, I know that they just gave me Hader, but I feel like they got a pretty good team. If you want to scope out another team, just click on the team, see what they're working with. So they signed Simmons. They traded for Haniger. Yeah, that is what I thought. And they signed Paxton. So they made some moves. And Hendricks and McGee. Yeah. And Robbie Ray? What? They got him in the bullpen too. Wow. Yeah. So they made some moves. We'll see how the Brewers do. If we go, there it is. Preseason predictions. So these are updated from the off-season predictions, and now they still have us there. They improved our, I believe it was 90 and 64 was what they said before the preseason, and so now, yeah, we're looking good. I hope that that's accurate. Yeah, they also changed the rest of them because they were projecting us to be the number 4 seed, and if it played out like this, we'd be the 1 seed. Obviously, that'd be amazing. They have us with a fantastic ERA. Yeah, lots of strikeouts. It's fantastic. That, yeah, pitching so important, as the Angels have learned in the hard way, I guess. Not making too many playoff runs despite having Mike Trout. So, yeah, hopefully things go this well for us this season. We'll get to the opening day roster. We already set it to 26, and now we're ready to play the game. So that is the end of the preseason and spring training. So in the next video, we'll get started with the season. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night.